Hello again. Here is for the best of chess FIDE Master Bojan Ivanovic. Lesson for today will be tactical element space clearance for an easy level. I will try to explain what is the space clearance and to show that on illustrative examples. And after that we will take a look in some practical examples. We're using space clearance when we have some piece or pawn in our camp which is blocking some attack, or when we need that square where is that piece or pawn for some another piece or pawn. And then we're mostly using sacrifice to clear way for attack. So let's see this first illustrative example for today. In this position we can see that white has queen, 2 rooks, bishop and 7 pawns, and on the other side black has queen, 2 rooks, bishop, knight and 6 pawns. So black has knight for a pawn. And also qualitative analyze will tell us that this king on h2 is for the moment safe here on h2. Queen together with these rooks creating control over this g file and some mating threat. Bishop on e3 is hanging at the moment, but also this bishop can be important in some attack on black king. On the other side, black has very weak king here on h8. Queen on h5 is attacking this pawn on f3 and pawn on h3, but black is not able to increase this pressure on this pawn so easily. Rook on d3 is very active and attacking this bishop on e3. Rook on a8 is protecting this weak 8 rank, so this is very important. Bishop on c7 is protecting this pawn on e5, and also this knight on f6 is protecting 8 rank, and also this square on h7. So this knight is also very strong. And okay, now we can see that the biggest minus in black position is weak position of black king, and also we know that white has one knight less than black, so white need to do something very forced. And okay, obviously it will be some mating attack, and we can imagine that if we don't have this rook on g7, then white will play queen g7 mate. And okay, that is our basic idea. Now we should use this space clearance to move this rook from g7, and of course we will use sacrifice and we will play rook h7. Now this g7 square is free for the queen, and if black takes this rook with knight, then queen g7 mate. And if black takes with king, and that is the last option for black, then queen g7, and that is mate. So we use this space clearance to make this square on g7 completely useful for this queen on g7. Okay, now we will go on the next illustrative example, and after that we will go to some practical examples. In this position we are looking from black perspective, and we will use also space clearance in this position. But first let's make a estimation of the position, and we can see that this king on b8 for black is safe at the moment, but also there is some weak squares around this king, and that can be potentially very dangerous for black. But okay, black is on the move in this position, so we should use initiative. And okay, this queen is currently doing nothing, but we can see that this queen can potentially attack this knight on c3, which is very important in defense of this king on c1. Rook on d8 is controlling this d file and supporting this very strong bishop on d3, which is also participating in attack on white king. Rook on h8 is undeveloped for the moment, and this bishop on f8 is undeveloped, but creating some sacrificing threat on a3. And okay, we can see that this pawn on e5 is blocking attack of this queen, so that can be potentially weakness in black position. On the other side, white has a very weak king on c1 because of very weak light squares around this king. Also, we can see that white has this very active queen, which is controlling these light squares. And okay, a rook on h1 is undeveloped. Rook on d1 is fighting for the control of this d file after moving of this knight from d2. We already said that this knight on c3 is protecting this king, but can be very vulnerable. Bishop on e3 is somehow misplaced at the moment. So basically the biggest minus in white position is this weak king on c1, and we should mention that also in this position black has material deficit, and white has almost a additional knight for two pieces, for 2 pawns. And okay, that means that black should do something very forced. And okay, we already said that this queen should participate into attack on white king, and of course we will use space clearance to achieve that by playing e4. And after this move, this queen on g7 is participating in this attack, and after some move, let's say queen f5 to take this pawn, then we have beautiful sacrifice on c3 after queen c3, and white is forced to take bc3, and now bishop a3 mate. Okay, instead of this move, maybe white can try to sacrifice this knight from d2 to try to defend this position of his king. And after this move, we're using sacrifice to make this position of white king even weaker. And if white takes here on a3, then after f e4 we can see that this queen is hanging and this knight is hanging at the same time. And after knight e4, to move this knight from this attack, and also to destroy this pawn which is attacking this f3 queen. And okay, after this move black will play queen a1, and after this move king d2 is forced. Now we can see that we have a battery, and we will use it by playing bishop e4, and we discover this attack on white king. And okay, after king e1, then we are using intermediate move to move our queen from this attack and to give a check at the same time. And okay, after this move white queen is going to fall and black is completely winning. So instead of b8-3 in this position, white could play also rook d3 to sacrifice this rook to try to neutralize this very strong attack on white king. And after this move, rook d3, king c2 to move from this pinning. Now fe4, and we're protecting this rook on d3 and attacking this queen on f3 at the same time. And after queen e4, rook h d8, and we can see that black has big material plus. And okay, white is not able to take on a3 because of this knight on c3, and okay, black is completely winning in this position. Let's go now for our first practical example for today. And this is our first practical example, and we will immediately start with estimation of the position. And before we start that, I will tell you that we are looking in this position from a white perspective, and white is on the move in this position. So let's start now with the usual thinking process. First will be estimation of the position, and we can see that white has queen, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights, and 6 pawns. On the other side, black has the same number of pieces and pawns. And now we'll go to qualitative analyze, and we can see that white has a king in the center on e1, but this king is perfectly safe on e1 in the moment because of closed center on the board. Queen on h3 is participating into attack on black king and can be very dangerous piece in the position. A rook on g1 is creating a pinning on this g6 pawn for protection of king on g8. So practically this pawn on g6 does not protect this pawn on f5. Rook on a1 is undeveloped. Bishop on d3 is hitting into this pawn on f5, which is not so well protected as I mentioned previously. And okay, we will say that this is a small weakness in black position. Bishop on b2 is at the moment very useless because this bishop is hitting in this white pawn on e5, but this bishop can be very strong potentially if this bishop managed to control this long diagonal a1 h8. And okay, knights are controlling this d4 square, and also this knight from f3 can be potentially used into attack on black king by playing, for instance, knight g5. So there is no some big weakness in white's position. On the other side, we can see that black has weak king on g8 because this king is under attack, and also there is some weakness of dark squared around this king. Queen on d8 is undeveloped and doing nothing in this moment. Rook on f7 is also somehow misplaced. Rook should be on f8, but in this moment this rook can be potentially attacked by playing e6. Bishops are also somehow very weak because especially this bishop on d7, which is hitting into this pawn on f5. But okay, again, this rook and this bishop is protecting this pawn on f5, and that is a good thing in black position. But okay, this bishop on e7 is somehow very restricted and does not have any big purpose in this position. So we will say that this is a weakness in black position. rook on c8 is controlling this half open c file, and this is very strong piece in black camp. This knight from c6 is somehow does not have any purpose at the moment, but maybe this knight can move from c6 and to try to open this c file. Okay, this knight on a4 is attacking at the moment this bishop on b2, and for the moment this knight is very good. Now we should try to make a plan for white how to use this weak position of black king, and also this very active position of his pieces, and we can conclude that also this bishop on b2 is under attack. So we should or to move this bishop from b2, or to use some attack and by counter-attack to answer on this attack on b2. So first candidate move can be, let's say, bishop d4, but in this case black can play just knight d4, and after knight fd4, for instance, queen b6, we are protecting black is protecting this e6 square, so it's not able to play e6, and now position is approximately equal. White does not have any big threat in this position. So instead of bishop d4, we should try to use a more forced approach, and one of the very attractive and very aggressive approach is playing e6 to open this b2 bishop, and we are using space clearance by playing e6. And okay, in this position white is attacking this rook on f7 and bishop on d7, so black is almost forced to take on e6, but another possibility can be also knight b2, and after knight b2 we can play ef7 check, and if black plays king f7, then queen h7, and black is completely losing this game. Okay, instead of king f7, black would play also king g7, and after king g7 we can see there is a pinning of this pawn on g6 for protection of king on g7 from direct attack of this rook on g1, and we can use that by playing bishop f5, because this pawn on f5 is not protected by this pawn on g6. And after bishop f5, this bishop on d7 is hanging, and okay, bishop f5 is very logical move, and after queen f5 white has material advantage and also positional advantage. Okay, now let's return on this position. In this position we already said that bishop e6 is very normal move and the best move in this position, and after bishop e6 white will play sacrifice to again to deflect this pawn from h7, and if black takes this rook on g6, then queen h8 mate, so black is forced to play king f8, and after this move position of black king is very weak, and after queen h6 king e8, rook g8 check, rook f8, rook f8, bishop f8, queen e6, and we can see that already white has one additional piece, and instead of playing knight e7 in this position, black would play also bishop e7, but after this move we will just continue with bishop f5, and now this rook is hanging on c8, and okay, after rook c7, knight g5, we are threatening a mate. Also black is not able to take this knight on g5 because of pinning, and okay, after queen d6 to make a space clearance for this king to come on d8 after check on queen f7, and okay, that happened. Queen f7, king d8, knight d6 check, and also this is a double attack. If black played king d7 in this position, then after knight g6 discover attack, king d8, queen e8 mate. And okay, in this position black can play also king c8, and after this move I will finish this beautiful combination by playing queen e8, bishop d8, knight d8, discover check, and after king b8 another discover check, and now this is also double check and mate. This was really beautiful example how to use this discover attack, space clearance, and pinning. And okay, instead of bishop e7, as I said, black can play also knight e7, and after this move white will play knight e5, and again we're threatening queen f7 mate, and black must try to use space clearance to make one square for this king, and by playing queen c7 to protect this rook and square d7, queen f7, king d8, queen f8 mate. And okay, this was all for today. This was a lesson about space clearance for an easy level, and I hope you enjoyed. For the best of chess, this was FIDE Master Bojan Ivanovic.